Welcome to the Mind Body Couple podcast.
I'm Tanner Murtagh.
And I'm Ann Hampson.
This podcast is dedicated to helping you unlearn chronic pain and symptoms.
If you need support with your healing, you can book in for a consultation with one of our therapists at painpsychotherapy.ca.
Or purchase our online course at embodycommunity.com to access in-depth education, somatic practices, recovery tools, and an interactive community focused on healing. Links in the description of each episode. Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back.
Welcome back.
We are back too from our trip. We went to Washington.
We did.
It was a trip away from our kids.
It's a nice break.
And away from our animals.
So many kids and animals.
I know. Yep.
It was
nice. A nice break.
We woke up in the morning and it was quiet.
Yeah, which is like really rare for us.
Yeah. And we would slowly stroll to coffee.
Yeah.
Slowly stroll back.
We slowly strolled to the White House.
Oh, yeah, we did. Saw the White House. Saw lots of things.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
And I was pretty regulated the whole time.
Yes, which is huge. And so I don't know if you guys have been following this for a while, you might know, but Tanner has a bit of a tough time on trips.
Yeah, so much unfamiliarity. I tend to get a little overwhelmed. But we even went to a concert.
Yes, which is a big deal.
And I was good. We saw Blink-182. I don't know if people know that band. I was one of my favorite bands when I was a teenager. So
yeah,
I've brought them and to see them multiple times.
Yes, yeah.
This is the last time, I promise.
Yeah, I know.
So today's topic, tone that vagus nerve and heal your chronic pain and symptoms.
All right. It sounds exciting, Tanner.
Oh, yes. Tone that vagus nerve.
Yeah.
We're getting a little sciencey, but don't worry. I'll tone it down.
Oh, my gosh. Okay. Okay, let's move it along from here. Yeah.
So we'll cover some of the science here, but understanding vagal tone is really essential to healing our chronic symptoms.
Yeah.
So what this is, vagal tone is an indicator of how well your vagus nerve is functioning. And so what it helps us do when we have high vagal tone, which was what we're looking for, it makes your nervous system really flexible. It makes it flexible and you can go more easily into the ventral vagal state of safety, calm, and connection.
So would we say then, if we're struggling with that, we would likely have low vagal tone?
Exactly. Yeah, low or poor vagal tone.
Yeah.
Takes place, and for a lot of people with chronic pain and symptoms, as we'll discuss, we have low vagal tone.
Yes.
And we have a hard time shifting with ease to that ventral vagal place. And you're not going to be there all the time.
No.
But we want more calm, safe, connected energy in our nervous system. That's essential when we're healing. And so, high vagal tone, as I've discussed, it helps you flexibly return to that ventral vagal state by modifying arousal, respiration, heart rate, and attention. And so we easily shift between the sympathetic and parasympathetic systems. And the benefit here is it is positively associated with improvements to mental and physical health.
Okay. I feel like you've sold me, Tanner, which is really good.
Well, I think the other aspect is what you're talking about when we have low or poor vagal tone. What takes place is your nervous system gets really rigid. So what happens is you get caught. You get caught in fight, flight, freeze, shutdown for like a prolonged period of time. So for example, this could look like being highly anxious and having an inability to shift out of that.
Okay, so wanting to shift out of it, recognizing, but struggling to do so.
Yeah, or you're like highly angry.
Yeah.
And you're just caught in this fight mode. Or you're just shut down and in despair and hopeless, helpless. And we just have an inability to shift back up.
Which I think a lot of people listening to this podcast probably would relate to that.
And the brain basically starts to generate pain physical symptoms, physical illness in an effort to protect us.
Mm.
It's letting us know, hey, something's not right here.
Yeah.
And so, poor vagal tone, the reason it's so vital to change this, because there's amazing research studies that have been done on this.
Right.
Poor vagal tone, it's associated with IBS, IBD, inflammatory bowel diseases, functional digestive disorders. It's associated with anxiety worsening, trauma symptoms, depression, chronic pain, chronic fatigue. So there's so much correlation between having poor vagal tone and having all these conditions.
Okay, so, and I know you're going to get there, but I think I'm wondering this, and I'm sure others are. If we think we have poor vagal tone, again, then what do we start doing about that?
Yeah, so at the end of this episode, if you make it through the science, I promise we'll get there.
As I'm trying to push them along the science, I apologize.
Yeah, we're moving through the science. This is a little sciencier of an episode, but at the end, we're going to talk about what are some simple practices that you can start to put into place.
Right, because when we talk about heart rate variability and those pieces, no one's going to be able to recognize those.
Yeah,
factors.
no one figures out, is because, when we have low heart rate variability, your vagal tone's low. Not to get sciencey, but no one's going to be listening to the heart rate being I have low heart rate variability. No one's going to be able to figure that out.
Yeah.
But if you have chronic pain, chronic fatigue, chronic dizziness, anxiety, depression, trauma symptoms, that's a good sign you have poor vagal tone.
Okay.
And it's not going to change overnight. It takes consistency for myself. It took many months, and even year by year, I can feel my vagal tone increasing.
Okay.
I literally can feel myself having more access to ventral vagal, where I can easily calm myself. I can easily feel more connected, even if I do go into fight, flight, freeze, shutdown, right? And so essentially, when you have poor vagal tone, all these physical symptoms, it's your nervous system communicating to you. Your nervous system's telling you something's not right. We're feeling in too much danger, essentially. So it's really normal to have these symptoms when we have poor vagal tone. Now, high vagal tone, the positives here, this is what we all want to know, right?
Yes.
High vagal tone, it's associated with improved emotion regulation, better pain inhibiting capacity, social connectedness and positive emotions, reduced inflammation, and improvement in IBS and IBD symptoms. So high vagal tone gives you so many things that everyone listening to this podcast really are striving for.
Right.
And so it makes sense that we focus on improving vagal tone over time. And essentially, your nervous system is letting you know through these changes, it's feeling more regulated. It's feeling calmer. It's feeling safer.
Yeah.
And so, high vagal tone, when we talk about this with clients and in our course, the somatic safety method, we talk about the somatic safety cycle, where your nervous system becomes more regulated, it becomes more flexible, and actually, this starts to reduce your chronic pain and symptoms.
Yes.
And as your chronic pain and symptoms reduce more, you feel even more regulated. You feel in a better state of mind, and then your symptoms reduce further.
Yeah, and I think that's a common experience where we kind of dive into this. We start maybe getting some results, and then often they start feeding off of each other. And then pain starts going down, more regulation, and then that just cycle keeps growing and growing.
Yeah, and I would go as far to say is this is one of the central focuses when I'm working with people.
Yes.
Because I know a person, if they're having these chronic debilitating symptoms, they probably have poor vagal tone, and we got to increase that. And we want to get on that right away because, again, it's not going to change overnight.
Yes.
There are no magic bullets here.
No.
I want to give a message of hope that I've seen people completely recover from their symptoms, but it takes work.
Yes.
It takes consistent small steps and lifestyle changes.
And I think honoring that, I know we talk about that a lot, but recognizing, okay, what small step have I done today? What little change am I noticing? Because they all add up and build. And so it's important to recognize progress in the right direction.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about, how you can tone your vagus nerve.
All right, yes.
We're diving into it. Some of these, super simplistic. And the other thing I want to say, make this fun.
Okay. So it's work, but we don't want it to feel like
Yeah.
work.
I think about it with our children,
Uh-huh.
and this drives Ann nuts. I'm
Yes.
always using this stuff on our children because
Which is good.
our
I agree.
children
It's a
were
good thing.
premature.
Yes.
And interestingly enough, unfortunately, prematurity typically lowers vagal tone.
Right.
Like they have poor vagal tone. So I'm doing this with my kids, and when I first started doing it, I was like, oh, I'm just gonna sit down and breathe with my 6-year-old son for 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Within 2 minutes, he's like jumping on me, hitting me. Like you can't sit down and do this. But you can incorporate this and make it fun.
Yeah.
So think about, your 6 or 7-year-old self. Don't make this a horrible chore. Do things that you actually enjoy doing. Do you like that pitch?
I do like it. It is pretty good. One thing as we go through this list, Tanner, that I'm wondering, and I know you've said that, but in terms of the sciencey bit, as we go through kind of these things we can do in a minute, how will these, how do they connect to increasing vagal tone on a scientific level? Maybe you can kind of add in that, because I think as you described vagal tone, it's like, okay, but then how do all these activities manipulate vagal tone is what I'm asking, I guess.
Yeah, so it's interesting, the research, and there's experts out there.
Sorry, I feel like I put you on the spot. And okay. I'm sorry to everybody that I'm making it a bit more sciencey right here, but I feel like people are wondering this piece.
There's quite a bit of research in the things that we're covering.
Yeah.
I'm looking at this list right now as we talk, and we have all these references underneath.
Yes.
I spent a long time putting this together.
You did.
But, a lot of times, essentially what we're doing is we're trying to activate that ventral vagal state. And the way we do that is we slow down breathing. We slow down heart rate. Right?
Okay, so we're manipulating heart rate.
We're physiologically, all these things cause changes to occur, and we're practicing giving people the ability to shift into that ventral vagal place and hang out there.
Yes.
Hang out in safety, connection, joy, calmness, ease. Like, again, you're not going to be calm all the time, but we want you to have an easier ability to get there. All the things on the list that we're about to cover can support you in doing that.
And so is it fair to say that we can change our system, we can increase vagal tone, but we need to slowly expose to doing that?
Yeah.
And this is exposure again.
Well, that's the other thing. As I've worked with people, the first thing on this list that we talk about is breath work.
Yes.
Breathing practices.
Yes.
They work great. If you're ever interested in some, I have some free ones on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
People can go check out, which is this Tanner Murtagh, MSWRSW. But in our course, we also have a tremendous amount of breathwork practices, a whole module on it. But, breathwork, what happens to people is they do too much and they're not used to hanging out in that ventral, safe, calm place. And that can feel overwhelming.
Yes.
That can feel activating.
Yes.
So some of these things on the list, sure, breath work, if you get to a place of doing an hour breath work practice consistently a day, I guarantee you over time you'll feel more regulated. It's going to be beneficial, but that can feel like a lot.
Okay.
For some people, it's just 5 minutes at a time at first.
Yes.
For myself personally, every night after our kids go to bed, I do my breathing practices.
I only laugh because Tanner really needs it after our kids go to bed.
Oh yeah, after our kids go to bed.
He's desperate for it.
I'm I need that. Tone that vagus nerve real bad right now. So I do it for 20, 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So I just incorporated it into my day where I'm naturally doing that.
Yeah.
Right. But I like breath work because it can be very simple and it can be very tangible for someone to just go practice.
Yes.
A certain type of breathing.
Well, and I like it that you're saying it doesn't have to be long. It can only be for, if it's for a few minutes, that's really impactful as well. Because I think we get caught up in thinking, oh my gosh, I have to really make this meaningful and do this for a long period of time and this big kind of practice. Yeah. And it doesn't have to be that way at all.
Yeah, and I think, a little tip on breath work, there's a lot of different types of breathing. We cover lots of them with clients and in the course. But a real simple tip for everyone is if you just practice breathing in and out through your nose and trying to make the exhale twice as long.
Yes.
That can be hard for some people.
Yeah.
So at first, maybe it's just the exhale needs to be a little bit longer.
Yeah.
But even doing that for 5 minutes is going to be beneficial over time.
Yes. And I relate to if this is a struggle for anyone, I relate to that struggle of like not always feeling comfortable with it, and so it is a bit of like, again, that exposure of kind of leaning into shifting states or that regulation. For sure. So it is about playing around with this. Okay, thank you. I feel like you've answered that question.
You like that?
Yeah, it was.
Put me on the
okay.
spot.
Yeah,
Hopefully
sorry.
I performed okay.
You did good. Yeah, you did good.
The next one, something that I do on a daily basis, qigong, yoga, dancing, or movement.
Mm-hmm.
I got a list here because all these, there's research to back.
Yes.
They're all beneficial. And this is where you can make it fun. Like I do a lot of qigong and yoga because I really like it.
Yes.
I find it fun. I use it in my work with clients. We use it in the course. There's a lot of benefit there.
Totally.
It incorporates slow breathing, slow movement.
Mm-hmm.
It can help release kind of stored emotions or survival energy. But movement is really key. Our nervous system needs movement.
Yes.
And that's hard when we have chronic pain and symptoms. But we want to do a little bit of exposure and moving in that direction.
Yeah.
Because it can increase vagal tone.
And so as you start engaging in movement, if you're safe to do so, I want you to remember that it's like, okay, I am improving and increasing the vagal tone as I'm doing this. So there's so much to movement of like the benefits.
Yeah, exactly. Next, meditation and mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
This ties into breath work. Breath work is more like consciously controlling your breathing. Mindfulness is just mindfully attending to your breath, mindfully attending with your senses on a certain place in your body, right? Like it's this non-judgmental, present moment focus. Where breath work, you're more consciously doing a certain breath work pattern. Yes. You can do both, like all in one. Sometimes I mix and match them all.
Yeah.
But mindfulness and meditation has a significant amount of research to back up that it is beneficial to be doing every single day.
Totally. And we have a lot of practices on the YouTube channel. We have a lot of practices connected to the course as well.
Yeah.
But again, these don't have to be long practices. Or if you're engaging in mindfulness, again, doing that for a few minutes is good.
Yeah. Start there and work your way up. My 30-minute breath work, mindfulness practice at the end of the night may seem like a lot, but I didn't start there. Like I worked my way towards that. Next, singing, humming, or chanting.
I only laugh at this because I applaud everyone that does this because I struggle to do this. And I feel like we're talking about our course for a bit, but in our course, Tanner has a chanting video, which is great because people can follow him. And like, if you're really interested, definitely it's a good place to start. But it's not really my thing. So when I look at the chanting video, I just it makes me chuckle a little bit.
Anne was making fun of me.
And it's funny. I need to share something about our editing process. Can I do that?
Yeah.
So we went through our course and we're editing it. And with that video, when we were editing it, there was something wrong with it originally and it like froze. And so he's like doing this chanting, but his like body is like tilted in this really weird way and his eyes look a bit odd and it's just like vibrating the screen.
The screen's glitching.
And it's like doing this weird noise. And I was like, oh my God. And it was like the best video for that to happen. So now when I think of chanting and humming, I think of this a bit of a scary Tanner scene.
You think of like, it was kind of like a scene from The Ring.
It was. Movie. It made me a bit
I looked like I was like possessed a bit. Yeah, I know.
Anyways, hopefully that doesn't deter you guys from chanting. I'm sorry, I feel like I sideways.
I did a little chanting this morning, actually. Okay. I did.
It's not deterring you, Tanner.
I'm not deterred. You can poke fun of me. I like it.
No.
I did some chanting this morning. Again, this is a fun way that you can learn to control your breathing.
Yes.
Whether it's singing, humming, you don't have to do the chanting. I like it. But kids sing all the time.
They do. So they naturally do this without like hesitation or...
That's what I mean is people need to think of their 6 or 7-year-old self here and get into it.
Oh, yeah.
Because our daughter, she probably sings an hour a day.
Very loud,
Oh,
which is
just
odd because she's a quiet girl.
she's quiet. Like if you met
Yeah.
her, she wouldn't say a word to you for an hour.
And our son sings this really loud. Like
They both are
he
just
tries to be in like a rock band.
they love it.
It is very,
They're having
very
it.
intense.
They're having a good time.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, our upstairs has like a railing, so
Yeah.
our son will sit there with his guitar
And like do
and
these
just
performances.
scream. Like
Yes.
he's going for
But you
it.
can tell he feels good. You can
Yeah.
tell like there's something about just leaning into that is kind of regulating for him.
That's what I mean.
So we're telling you to go sing and chant, I guess, right now.
This kind of leads
Loudly.
into the next point, music.
Ah, yes.
You know, we have been very blessed with our producer, Alex Klassen, who's an amazing musician.
Yes.
I play a bit of guitar, but nothing compared to him. Like he's next level. Great singer too. I'm pumping him up here. But he created a lot of like different nervous system practices with music.
Yeah.
Which, you know, we're so fortunate to have. But music, there's lots of research to benefit like mindfully focusing on music. And you could do a little dance. You could even tie that in. But there's
some breathing.
And some breathing. You could just mix and match it all.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of benefit to even just mindfully focusing on music and seeing how it affects your nervous system.
Yes.
Because different songs affect your nervous system differently.
Yes.
I do this with my son all the time. Like I try to have him listen to like 5 new songs, like in the car when we're driving. Like I'll put on new music. And he loves it because he's picking like what ones make him feel good inside and what ones don't. And
I think everyone would agree with that like music really kind of impacts your mood and how you feel. But thinking of this as like toning the vagus nerve or like nervous system regulation is a kind of a different take on it.
yeah. Where are we at?
Safety signals.
Safety signals, savoring. We've done a whole episode in the past on safety signals.
Well, and I think this is one, like I know you love your chanting, but safety signals and savoring is something I really kind of lean into with people because I like the concept of like, what are your safety signals? What kind of creates that space for you? And then that mindful savoring. I think a lot of people can grab onto that and understand that.
Yeah, we put this on the list because we've listed a lot of specific things. But there are unique safety signals that create a sense of safety for you.
Yes.
There are unique things that work for certain people.
Yeah.
Like even you think about music, our last point, that's the Wild West in terms of what creates safety for someone.
Like I'm just
it could be
music.
Death metal music that does it for you. Like that's what I mean is like it's all over the place. And so you do want to make it a bit unique to you as well. Cold water.
A lot of people are talking to me about cold water and really getting benefits from it.
Yeah. And it's a consistency thing. Can you have a cold shower a day?
Why is it a consistency thing for cold water?
Well, it's with all of these. You know, if you sang, for 10 minutes once a week, is there going to be benefits? Yeah, maybe marginally. If you sang 10 minutes a day, would there be more benefits? Yeah, likely.
Okay.
It's the same with cold water.
Yes.
If you do this once every 2 weeks, like, is it having an effect? Sure. Is it going to be a large effect? Probably not. Like, it's cumulative, all of this.
Yes.
So I have 1 to 2 cold showers a day.
He does.
I do, and I really like them, but they're not long. Like they're maybe 2-3 minutes. But that's what I mean is on this list, you just want to pick a few things and be consistent.
Yes.
And the last thing I want to mention, the way your nervous system naturally regulates. We're giving you all of these fancy, strategies, but the way your nervous system naturally regulates is through co-regulation.
Yes.
Connection with another person or animal's nervous system where you're creating safety together.
Yes.
So it comes down to social connection. We can't heal alone. It's not possible. We need social connection to feel regulated consistently.
Yeah, and I think all the pet people out there would relate to that in terms of like how important in times of difficulty are their animals.
Yeah. I even think about our trip to Washington to see our friends.
Yeah.
Like there was just so much social connection that was taking place that felt amazing.
Well, and it's easy to forget about that when we're in like routine and the grind and then often social connection is something that goes to the wayside. And then we forget how important that is.
Yeah. So this is our list
Yes.
of what can tone your vagus nerve. If you're listening and you're not doing many of these things, I think the goal here is to pick 1 or 2 things on this list that your 6 or 7-year-old self would like.
And do it in that fashion.
And do it consistently.
Yeah.
You could get your guitar and sing like my 6-year-old son at the top of your lungs.
Kind of like
minutes.
Screaming or death metal-ish.
Yeah, he's going for it.
Yeah.
But just pick 1 or 2 and just do them consistently.
Yeah.
It's not going to change overnight, but if you do them consistently, you will see changes over time typically.
For sure.
So thank you everyone for listening to this science-y episode.
Thank you for listening.
And we'll talk to you next week.
Talk to you next week. Thanks for listening. For more free content, check out the links for our YouTube channel, Instagram, and Facebook accounts in the episode description.
We wish you all healing.